the pickup here for Tunisia. And that's an interesting one because we still have some heroes that are actually quite good versus a Lifestealer. I mean, the Ogre Magi has a high amount of armor. Sure, he has a high HP pool, which plays into the feast, but he's got a high amount of armor, which is always good versus a Lifestealer. The Vengeful Spirit's a decently naturally tanky hero, but the biggest thing being that swap, being able to... Lifestealer's just a hero that focuses one hero, and that's an ultimate counter right there. The Ursa, that's a classic counter going back to Dota 1. Ursa versus the Lifestealer every time.
You want a man fight me? Bring it on.
There's nothing Lifestealer. I mean, he just cannot target the Ursa at that point. He can't open wounds and go for the rage hits because he's going to be taking pure physical damage from that Ursa, mixed in with like the minus armor coming into play, the bloodlust. This is going to be a dangerous bear, and that's what I'm talking about, right? You only need a mid-game oriented carry at this point because all the auras that are coming into play are going to make you powerful even going in 55 minutes because between bloodlust and this minus armor and everything, Ursa is still going to be a beast.
So I think here for Norway, you ban out heroes like Puck and Storm. Like Storm isn't a massive issue because you've got the stuns from Venge and Ogre plus the swap. Still a bit annoying because he can kite Ursa if he's not locked down.
Right.
But I think Puck is probably the better one there because if you've got the Dream Coil, you've got the ability to do the Lifestealer Bomb, and it couples up well, really well with Earthshaker and Tidehunter.
They're the Templar Assassin ban being taken out by Tunisia, seeing a lot of that potential minus armor running into play. They still need a mid pickup here, and well, we need a mid pickup for both sides. So maybe Templar Assassin, maybe they plan on running something that Templar Assassin is rather good against, but in general, TA would work quite well with Norway's and have a lot of synergy, and sure enough, as you called it, the Puck is going to be banned away.
Well, that's what the TA ban is, because TA does pretty damn good against Puck, so you sort of see that and think, why are they banning TA? It's not really a hero you naturally ban at that stage. It must be Puck.
So they can still pick up. There are a couple of other initiators left in the pool. Obviously, Puck is the most popular one, but there is a very common pickup with the Storm Spirit, right? The Storm Spirit Lifestealer Bomb, incredibly strong in being able to blow up one hero. Sure, the Storm Spirit's a little bit more farm dependent than the Puck is, and sure enough, there it is. Tunisia are going to be running that Storm Spirit. There's nothing Norway could do about that. It was one initiator or the other, and they chose the Puck as being the more dangerous.
Do you pick something like OD now?
I don't see why not. I mean, you do have, I mean, the Bloodlust combined with the OD makes him pretty powerful as well. But and I'm thinking more of like the Imprisonment being so strong versus the Lifestealer as well. Obviously, the laning advantage that you're going to have over the Storm Spirit. I think the OD would be a great pickup. The question is whether or not Norway feel comfortable with that hero because he is a little bit one of those more specialty mids. So Tunisia right here running a very early aggression style with the Storm Spirit Lifestealer being their hard carries here. They can go into the late game if they're decently well farmed. And if Norway don't pick up a semi-carry, like a pretty good semi-carry in the mid, it's entirely possible that Tunisia can actually win out the late game. But Zeus is going to be the last pickup here. A hero that has been seen more and more in 6.82 with the recent changes. Lightning Bolt no longer having to actually click on a hero. That actually changes so much about him. But the rune changes well plays into many of these more spam-oriented mids. So the Zeus being picked up is going to be a huge mid-game impactful hero for Norway. The question is whether or not Rays are able to just kind of survive through the laning phase for me, pick up their Blink Daggers, and then go all in for those team fights. I mean, that's what their whole entire lineup is centered around, is those mid-game team fights with the Ravage, the potential Earthshaker, Blink, Echo Slam, and then, of course, Lifestealer and Storm Spirit both just love to be able to fight about that 30 to 35-minute mark.
One of the players has mic issues again.
Yep, so we're going to have a short little pause, but the Elder Titan, Zeus, that's a strat that is just terrifying. I mean, these board supports, like Skywrath Mage, that guy just cannot survive. One Lightning Bolt, one Ultimate by itself is going to bring you down very, very low. If you're anywhere near the Elder Titan or the Spirit and you have that armor, that magic armor completely gone, you're done for. You know, that it's just the Zeus is going to be laying down way too much damage in a team fight. The poor Skywrath Mage is going to have a hard time surviving. And the Storm Spirit as well. I mean, if he gets locked down by a Fire Blast, he's kind of done for as well. So they are very dependent on that Ogre Magi. It's unlikely that a Magic Missile is going to be your leading a stun up against the Storm Spirit. He should always be able to jump away before it hits him. Obviously, the Elder Titan, that's even easier to dodge. And then the rest of your heroes don't really have a disable to throw in until later on to the game, until we have like Scythe of Ice or an Abyssal on the Ursa, potentially both. Normally, the Ursa's build is pretty much locked in. We don't really see, even with the changeup of Ursa, despite the fact that they changed up his passive, the Fury swipes, you can actually throw in those kind of, you can pick up a Mjolnir, you can pick up Mask of Madness, those sort of things. We're still seeing kind of the same Vlads into, Blink Dagger, maybe late game Scythe of Ice, Abyssal, definitely. Like those kind of general items that we still see. It's kind of the same build, despite the fact that we had that Fury swipes change, which I expected so much more of. I expected to see more teams.
Desolator and
yeah,
things like that.
Yeah, I've seen a Desolator Ursa. Oh, it's scary as hell. One team. I've only seen one team run it, and it was just gobbled down support so easily.
So how do you think the Zeus does, sort of getting later into the game? Let's say 30 minutes in. If both teams are even on farm, you've got the Lifestealer Bomb with the Storm Spirit. You've got Earthshaker who has a blink, let's just say. Tidehunter has a blink. How does Zeus survive?
Yeah, this is kind of a question for me is like what build do you go for? Item build in the Zeus, and like that builds onto how do you survive? Do you go for like the early mobility of a Force Staff here, or do you go for Yule Scepter because you're gonna need that quick reaction? Like a Force Staff may not be enough in order to get out of the Ravage range, or obviously you also have the silence coming out from the Skywrath Mage, which is devastating for a Zeus.
And it's not going to take you far enough from Storm Spirit, because if he jumps on you and you Force Staff away, he's just going to jump again.
Exactly. He's just going to burn a little bit of extra mana and catch up right back. So it's going to be an issue for me. I guess it would be Yule Scepter. Obviously, there's still going to be some downsides to Yule Scepter. You throw yourself up in the air in order to dodge something, you're still going to come right back in, and you're probably going to be stunned up by the Storm Spirit. But
that gives time for Elder Titan to get into position, get the Echo Stomp off, the rest of the team.
That's true.
Ursa to blink in, or maybe even the swap from Venge, get Zeus out of harm's way, get that ultimate off.
Yeah, with the Vengeful Spirit, I think this actually gives more credibility to the Yule Scepter, just being able to buy time and still have that escape mechanism available once you come back down in that swap could mean so much for them.
But then on the flip side, we're going to look at the laning phase. The Storm Spirit up against the Zeus, not going to have a great time. Like you said, that spam from the Zeus really going to put that Storm Spirit under pressure. I think it's going to come down to these two supports, Earthshaker and Skywrath. How much work can they do in that first 7 or 8 minutes?
Both the offlaners are going to have a very hard time, though. I mean, we already talked about the Elder Titan generally being kind of a feeding offlaner, but then the Tidehunter, well, normally is a decently strong offlaner, is able to deal with a lot of aggression thanks to his Kraken Shell. If you just keep him down at level 1, and I see no problem with that, just because the Vengeful Spirit, Ogre Magi, especially the harassment of that early, level 1 Ignite is just absolutely a ton of damage. The Ogre Magi can just completely zone out the Tidehunter until the Ursa is big enough. Once he has Phase Boots, he's going to be a big threat for that melee hero. So I think in general, both the offlaners are going to be having a hard time, but I think you're right. I think Norway may be etching out just a little bit in the laning phase solely because of that Zeus versus Storm Spirit matchup.
Does Kraken Shell debuff Fury Swipes?
I believe it does.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Obviously, at level 1, it doesn't matter too much because the threshold's 600 damage, doesn't have 600 HP. But later on...
One of those older changes, too, was the fact that it was 3 or 4 patches ago. It's now up to 15 seconds. So you just take them once, and it's just like you have to sit back for what it feels like half an hour just waiting for that charge to go away. Of course, the big dependency, I think, for Tunisia in this laning phase is going to be how well the Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker end up roaming into the middle lane. Because obviously, your old-school mids like Zeus, like SF, those heroes are very susceptible to smoke ganks. And that's why when the smoke came into the game, we would see a lot of those mids fade away. They were just so susceptible to those early support rotations and the smoke ganks that were solely because of that. And so we saw a lot of those mids fade away, and that's still going to be a strong possibility here that Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker could just continually shut down the Zeus by making that rotation into the middle lane. And of course, the bit of an advantage for Norway would be the Elder Titan may feel a little bit bolder and moving forward in lane and getting some experience, but I don't think you're really too concerned. As long as you shut down the Zeus, the Elder Titan won't be much of a problem. So we can see both teams are going to be running very, very normal lanes here, defensive tri lane on both sides. Mid, Storm Spirit going up against the mid Zeus, and 2 offlaners, Elder Titan as well as Tidehunter. Probably going to be dealing with the left time. Team Norway are going to be starting off with the top rune, waiting for a bounty rune to spawn. They're going to give that over to the Ogre Magi. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, we're going to have Skywrath Mage finding himself a pretty little blue rune here, the double damage, being able to add in that extra harassment power up against the Elder Titans. So all in all, I'm expecting things to be pretty mild for the most part, except for the roaming duo of Tunisia. I'm not really sure if you roam Norway's supports out as much, as I feel like you need to put more pressure on the Tidehunter than you do the Elder Titan.
Yeah, I think for the first 3 minutes, hold that lane off, keep the Tidehunter out of XP range, but you need to make some move towards mid before Storm hits 6, because you need to put that pressure on him. And you do have kill potential. Once Zeus hits, level 4 or 5, the Storm just evaporates.
A heavy amount of lightning bolt damage. So as you can see, Norway are doing a successful job. Yeah, I think all you really need is just to get to be the Ursa in order to have those upgraded boots. And then from there, you can probably roam out of lane a little bit more. But just in the beginning, making sure that the Tidehunter doesn't get to level 3 or 4 and has that high level of Anchor Smash and that high level of Kraken Shell is very important. The double pull coming out here is only going to be able to catch out one of the melee creeps. So the lane may actually, yeah, you can see the Tidehunter is making sure that that double pull won't actually work out for them. He's going to make sure to grab some of those creeps and get some experience for himself. So a good start there. Always kind of risky pulling on the Dire side solely because that double pull always puts you in such in close range to the offlaner, and most good offlaners will make sure to intercept.
Yeah, like you were saying, the Radiant supports have dewarded that Observer from the other Titan, so he's got no vision. He's using his Spirit to scout them out and like, oh, where are they? They're coming.
Yeah, he's actually gotten level 2, surprisingly enough. Now, Durka, this is something that I've been kind of talking with a lot of different pro players. Whenever I get to see the Elder Titan, I have to ask them, do you think nowadays you should be going for an early level of Echo Stomp on the Elder Titan, or do you still go for the 0-4-4 build?
I think you still go 0-4.
I mean, just one level adds in just an extra level of utility to this hero that is normally, I mean, pre-level 9. If you go for the 0-4-4 level, before level 9, you are kind of useless in many team fights. Sure, you add in a lot of extra damage, but when it comes to actually being able to have some larger impact than just being like, hey, I increase the rest of your damage, you're going to need to disable, and sometimes just one level of Echo Stomp can save so much.
The trouble is that cast time, 1.4 seconds for a 2 seconds sleep. It's like not even a stun. It's not really worth it when you look at the maths behind the aura and the spirit. You're getting extra movement speed, damage that increases your survivability on the off lane just with the movement speed. You can go in for the last hits. As soon as these supports leave the lane, he's going to be...
poor Tidehunter getting wiped out by the tri-lane up in the top lane. That's going to be your first blood. Vengeful Spirit will pick up the last hit on that one. So just overextending himself just a little bit too much, trying to intercept that pull. And you can see Norway are already going to be going for the early smoke rotation into middle. They already put down the Tidehunter. They're going to feel like he's going to be playing scared. So what better time to make that rotation and see if they can shut down the Storm Spirit nice and early.
And Zeus is level 4. It is absolutely perfect timing.
So he's got that heavy nuke, 175 damage, plus the extra bit coming out from your static field. And here it goes. Vengeful Spear pops the smoke, and immediately Link is far enough back, won't be caught by that one. And the support's probably going to be heading back up to top to make sure this Tidehunter doesn't get too much experience. They got to make sure he doesn't get an early Ravage. And besides the fact that Sunderland, when he picks up those upgraded boots, they've got so much extra kill power up against the Tidehunter.
I like the build from this Ursa, going for 2 in the Earthshock. So you don't necessarily need the Overpower and Fury Swipes maxed out, because with the Kraken Shell, if that does proc after you just dish out most of your damage, you need something to slow him down further so you can finish him off.
Right. There's always the potential. We haven't really talked about this, but the early Roshan is a strong possibility here for the Ursa. If they end up feeling like they get enough room to sneak that Ursa into the Roshan pit, like he only needs the regular lifesteal. Like he no longer needs Vlad's in order to take on Roshan. So you can actually do it very early on, especially if you get some extra auras such as minus armor thrown into the pit, as well as the Bloodlust, the very, very early level of Bloodlust being picked up by the Ogre Magi. So a 1-1-1 build. You can see the rotation coming in. They're going to put it slow onto the Ursa. Not really much they can do with this without mass teleports in. So they're just going to kind of force these heroes back, make sure Tidehunter does actually get some of the aggro off of the tower and grab some of that experience.
That was well played by Norway. A lesser team would have gone in there thinking, okay, it's only Scarth and Tidehunter. We can take at least one of these guys. Then you've got to think about the TP from Earthshaker, possibly Lifestealer or Storm, but they don't have TPs right now.
Right.
But that Fisher, if he comes in TPs, blocks someone on the wrong side of that ramp.
Yeah, we've already seen him go for one Fisher block up against the Elder Titan, who has now picked up his Tranquil Boots and is about to proc level 4. So this is honestly not too bad of a lane for him. Norway is doing a great job. He's constantly throwing out his spirits to make sure he sees those supports. And in fact, right now, you could see due to the vision he has right here, he's feeling pretty confident about moving forward and at least getting an experience range, if not actually grabbing some CS, or maybe even a couple of denies here. Forced back by the Earthshaker. Not much is going to come out of that, Joe. Just
Tide.
Oh, Jesus. Tidehunter ends up going down as the ultimate is thrown out from the Zeus. Now they're going to find the Skywrath Mage as well. Gets the stun on him, and now the Vengeful Spirit just needs the vision. They'll get it and should be able to right-click him down. Earthshaker comes in, tries to provide some body blocking, but there's nothing he can do, and now gets hit by the slow from the Ursa, who runs out of the tower range. Meanwhile, the rest of the supports will chase down the Earthshaker. Storm Spirit gets a bit of a stun. Blood is actually away now. Now it's Norway who's in some trouble, as Bingo's going to come in, slow down the Vengeful Spirit, quick teleport away, and still no mana on this Earthshaker. Meanwhile, Storm Spirit's going to be chasing down the Ogre Magi, still has plenty of mana, so should be able to pick up this kill. The Zeus nowhere in range to be able to help him out. The tankiness of the Ogre Magi is helping him live for a very long time. One more right click, gets it with the gush actually, as the Tidehunter finally gets Tunisia on the board, 1-3. That was a very costly fight in general for Tunisia, though. I mean, throwing so many heroes, they lost a ton, they teleported in a bunch, and all they got was support out of that. They didn't even get the other one, the Vengeful Spirit, very wisely teleporting away like that.
Yeah, the Ursa going man mode against the Tidehunter, pushing him back behind the tier 1 tower, getting those Fury swipes up, and then he thought, okay, well, I'm on a 3rd HP, I don't want to dive the tower, my supports are looping around behind, but Zeus ultimate.
Yep, and it's about to be up again, too. Speaking of which, this is something that I was actually talking to Fogged a lot about. Both him and I kind of playing this MMR race right now, and he was playing the Zeus, and he told me that he hates the Arcane Boots build. He actually goes for the Tranquil Soul Ring, and I actually experimented it with myself, and I feel it's a much stronger build just because the extra amount of harassment you get against the mid lane is just so much better. You can actually just spam out lightning bolts against them over and over and over again and force them back. So Ursa going in for a deep dive up against the Tidehunter. Zeus ultimate will be able to finish him off once again. Sunderland just sets up the Zeus for a free kill. Not going anywhere, just sitting in the middle lane, but still able to provide a serious impact. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, the Elder Titan was forced away. We do have the Ogre Magi just making sure he'll replace the Elder Titan in this lane, grab some of that experience for himself.
Yeah, that Soul Ring Tranquil stun there on the Zeus.
Stun on the Zeus, but Link is not taking that opportunity to try and jump him, not feeling very confident about making that leap. And not really that surprising considering the lack of vision here for the side of Tunisia. They only have that one laning ring. That was laning ward that was just thrown down by the Skywrath Mage. When you look at Norway, they've got the Zeus completely protected on both sides of the river.
And they know they need it. So Midas Phase up on the Lifestealer. He's not gone for drums or any stats build. So he's going all out farming. I need gold. I need it quickly. And how's the Ursa doing? He's got his Phase Boots and Orb of Venom. He's going straight into that Vlad.
Slow onto the Ogre Magi. We do have the Fisher Sun that's going to come out. Look at the mass teleports. All three are going to be coming in. Norway is once a fight in exchange for this Ogre Magi, but he's not even going to go down. The high amount of armor. It's actually Lifestealer who's going to fall. Gets stunned up by the Vengeful Spirit as that last hit. 1-5 now. Norway. Heavy amount of TPs in, but they do successfully save their Ogre Magi, and that's what I was talking about earlier. 8 armor on this Ogre Magi. It's just too much. I mean, you would imagine, like, oh, he's a big tanky hero. This Feast is going to do a lot of damage, but that's really not the case. It's the armor that protects the Ogre Magi so much.
And once that rage is down, that Lifestealer has no chance. Absolutely shredded by the Zeus as he TPs in. Does give Storm a little bit of breathing room. Same with the Tidehunter. He's now got Arcane Boots, level 6.
Yeah, hopefully they can do something big with this Ravage. They're going to need it at this point, 9 minutes in, and they're already suffering a bit. Though if you look at actually the gold graph and the experience graph, it is not going that heavily in the favor of Norway, despite the fact that I felt like they should be doing much better in their lanes. If you look at the CS, Storm Spirit is actually etching out the Zeus right now, just barely in CS. Stun onto Storm Spirit. He does actually take that one. And will now turn on to the Vengeful Spirit. Not sure why they tried to go for this dive. Now Ursa is going to be kited around a little bit, trying to get on the Skywrath Mage. Zeus ultimate, forcing them back a bit. And Norway should be able to make a clean extraction here. They're still going to be going in up against that Vengeful Spirit, but Link has actually put himself in some serious danger. No man on him. Meanwhile, the Tidehunter throws an ultimate. Not going to stop the bear, though. Eats up that Kraken. And the Zeus as well, able to take down that Skywrath Mage in the back. So a very successful 1-for-2 trade there as they managed to get the extra kill on the offlaner of Tunisia. Very successful fight for Norway.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that the Ursa hasn't gone for a really quick blink. He's gone for Orb of Venom, then entering a Basilius, and now Magic Stick. So he's delaying that next big item. It looks like he's going to be going Vlad's first, then maybe, like you said, take a Roshan and build up to that Blink Dagger. Then again, it is only 10 minutes in. What is Lifestealer bringing out to himself? Bracer. So he is going for the drums.
So a mass race car build here for the Lifestealer. Can't really blame him too much. I mean, he's going to need a lot of that movement speed going up against the Ursa. He's going to have to just kite that hero around and play around his support just to be able to provide those disables necessary, because, again, he cannot win that man fight, which normally Lifestealer is always able to do. But up against certain heroes, it's just not possible. You can see the supports of Tunisia really trying to roam around the map and make something happen here. And they are making a lot of room for both the Lifestealer and the Storm Spirit. You could see they're still top of the board. It's the only reason that Tunisia are not really far behind. But yeah, he's going to be running in. Finds the Earthshaker, already stunned up, slowed down as well. The silence keeping the Ursa at bay, making sure he can't get off that Earthshock, and obviously the slow getting the Earthshaker away. So attempt at a little bit of roaming there from the Ursa, not quite good enough. But I think this aggression actually plays into a potential Ursa. I mean, if he's constantly off map, you always go, oh, he's got to be doing Roshan right now. But the reality is this Ursa is off map quite a bit, but he's actually going for these hero kills. And eventually, they're going to get a little bit complacent and go, oh, he's looking for hero kills. He's going to be going for a dive. But the reality is he's in that Roche pit. Stun, a little bit of an ultimate going out. It looks like they tried to catch out the Storm Spirit, burst him down real quickly. That's not going to be the case, though.
They thought they had enough with the Spirit, the Bolt, and the ultimate from Zeus. Not quite.
And another pause as Norway need a couple of seconds here. But overall, I mean, between the high amount of CS, I mean, look at him. He's 7-8 and 23. He is over 7 at Xing his lane right now. Plus, he has a hand of Midas. He's got that infest to be able to occasionally go into the jungle, farm up, you know, big creep if he feels like it. He's doing really well despite the fact that he had that early death. But what is the Lifestealer like? At what point in time do you stop farming on the Lifestealer? Do you actually go for some of these early fights, or do you wait until like really late game when you've got like an Assault Cuirass and Abyssal Blade? Then maybe the Lifestealer can fight up against that Ursa because he's got a heavy amount of armor and he's got to disable himself.
I think it's got to do more with his team. Like, do you wait for Storm to get his BKB? Do you wait for Scarth to get boots? Because he's sitting there on 420 gold just waiting. Can I buy boots now, please? It's 12 minutes into the game.
Especially with his low amount of armor, the Ursa just eats him up every single time. So
I think it relies entirely on Storm Spirit and his decision when it's ready to actually go and fight.
Right.
Do you wait for, you know, just Ogre Club? Do you wait for Oblivion Staff and Orchid? Or do you just go now?
Well, you can see the Storm Spirit. They're going to try and make something happen here without the Lifestealer as he continues to farm up the bottom lane. You can see the top lane. Ogre Magi playing it a bit aggressively there, getting a small stun on the Tidehunter. Just doing some harassment, making sure the Tidehunter doesn't feel confident coming forward, especially since you've got that multicast ready to go on the Ogre. You never know when potentially just a Fire Blast turns into an easy kill thanks to a 2x multicast.
Yeah, net worth-wise, the Ursa isn't doing great. He's now behind the Storm.
Yeah, he's spending so much time roaming around that is just way behind in farm compared to the Lifestealer, who was already so far ahead of in CS, but then the Midas starts kicking into play as well. You could see Joey does agree with us, though. He's going to be going for the Yule Scepter for this game. That's going to be the way he deals with the potential Orchid. And I say potential. I feel like it has to be an Orchid for the Storm Spirit, as well as the Silence from the Skywrath Mage as well. Top lane, we do have teleports coming in. The tower is in deny range. Norway put it there, but now they're going to be punished for it. So Ravage goes out, catches the Vengeful Spirit only, but the Storm Spirit will make sure to grab the Ursa, and that'll be a double there for Tunisia, punishing Norway, attempting to take that hero with only 2 heroes like that. It feels like a very, very greedy play from them.
And Norway doesn't gain anything anywhere else on the map. They're going to try and put pressure onto the tier 1 mid, but the reaction time, look at that. As I say it, they're TPing in.
Yes, I'm not sure about the Tidehunter. He doesn't have a Ravage here and immediately gets blown up. Sure enough, LJ going to be jumped in with the Lifestealer bomb, and it's now going to be going on the Zeus. They do not have a swap here for the Vengeful Spirit. And Zeus is, there goes the Yule Scepter. They just need a little bit of extra, but they're not going to get it. The Vengeful Spirit able to stun him up farther down. We do have the Ogre Magi, 17 health, but the last bolt will do the trick. As Ogre Magi run as fast as you can, pop a smoke, it doesn't matter. That bolt will find its mark.
I just wonder if it was more worth it to go for the Zeus kill than chase the Ogre, because he takes such a long time to chase down and get that last hit on him. Because, you know, 1 Arcane Bolt on the Zeus would have finished him.
Yep. Well, they needed 1 right click. Anything would have done the trick.
Just breathe on him and he falls over.
Exactly. Well, Joey's going to be happy getting away. That means he's going to have his level 2 ultimate rather soon. And Vengeful Spirit, I'm hoping she's going to spend just 30 seconds here in this middle lane. That way you could pick up that swap, because, again, we talked about how important it is up against the Lifestealer, who just locks on 1 hero with that open wounds, pops the rage, and tries to gobble him up. If you have a swap, even just a couple of seconds of disrupting the Lifestealer's damage can mean so much and being able to save one of your cores. And once that once that rage is down, all he has left is the infest to be able to save himself from the heavy nuking power of Norway.
What do you guys lifesteal here? Because with an armlet, obviously the cooldown for Zeus's spells is pretty high. So you can dodge through them. Ursa's attack speed, pretty low unless he's got overpower on, so you can wait for overpower to finish and then toggle armlet. Or do you go for, like you said, the race car build, go Sand and Yasha? You go for Abyssal Blade straight off the bat to lock down that Ursa.
I don't know, it's so tough to be able to go Abyssal Blade really, really early on. I feel like that's an item that you have to build after a decent amount of items you already have. You need a heavy amount of attack speed to take advantage of that bash proc. So
well, how about you go really old school, you build Mjolnir? Because with a static charge on you against all of this damage incoming, you can be lifestealer. You go in with static charge on, rage halfway through the team fight, and then just demolish the Zeus.
And you can see, Roshan's going to be falling here to Norway, as Ursa will grab himself an Aegis. Still doesn't have that blast, but is able to take it anyway. Again, thanks to the change-up of Fury Swipes. Middle, oh, there it goes, Link. I was watching that damage, the Lightning Bolt, then they threw the Spirit in, and finally the ultimate was able to drop that Storm Spirit. And this poor guy, man, he has to try and make, basically the only way to dodge that is trying to make a ball lightning jump as the ultimate is being dropped on you, and that's just such a hard timing to get.
Listen for the clap.
Yeah. We're going to see, I don't know, what do you think the Elder Titan here is? He's going to be going for a Force Staff, I presume, up against a Lifestealer?
I think Force Staff's a good item.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, if you try and dodge it, you listen for the clap and you dodge that ultimate. Now with a change, you know, you can't spam the ultimate from Zeus, or spam cancel. So you can only do it once within 15 seconds or something. So if he cancels the animation of his ultimate once, you hear the clap. If he does it a second time, you don't hear it coming.
Oh, look at Sunderland here. He's wrapping around. He's got himself an Invis rune, and he's found a tasty little Earthshaker. As long as he's able to get off the slow, and sure enough, he will get it. Enchant Totem will slow him down. Echo Slam also going out. Not going to be good enough. Meanwhile, the Storm Sphere jumps in. Nice swap. But the Ogre Magi will still fall. And oh, Jesus. That poor Ravage goes out. And they are going to be able to lock down some of these heroes, but it feels like their damage is all gone. And sure enough, there goes the Tidehunter. Now the Lifestealer is going to be melted as well as, geez, look at that damage coming out from the Elder Titan. Now Link trying to jump on Joey here, but he's going to need to pull out some moves to try and get away. Norway on hot pursuit, but Link already has enough mana to get out. Zeus going to teleport away, knowing that the Storm Spirit was going to try and jump back in, and that's a buyback completely wasted there. That's going to be Tunisia. I mean, look at that team fight recap. That's almost 3,500 gold swing right there. You add in the heavy amount of experience they got on top of that, and Norway are now sitting very pretty with their lineup at 17 minutes in.
That was so close there. The last jump from Storm Spirit when he went onto the Zeus while TPing, didn't have enough mana for Vortex. Just came off cooldown, slightly short.
1,200 gold on the Ursa. Still expecting to see that mobility item. Still expecting to see the Blink Dagger picked up by him, just because it's going to be so strong against many of these heroes. Is again, Skywrath Mage, even the Tidehunter. I like the Ursa just jumping on the Tidehunter forces that Tidehunter to Ravage most likely. I mean, he's just going to have to defensively Ravage, and then at that point, sure, you get stunned up, but the rest of your team can follow suit after the Ravage has been spent, maybe even swap you out.
Lifestealer picks up the Yasha.
And I like this, the Blink Dagger pickup on the Zeus. So combined with the Yule Scepter, it means not only disabling, keep getting that silence off of you from the Orchid as well as the Skywrath Mage, but then you can just blink away to safety after that. Tier 1 tower going to be falling here as Tunisia back themselves up, not able to deal with this Elder Titan and the spam spirit that is coming at them. So they have to back themselves up, give up that free tower to Norway. Meanwhile, Aya's going to be trying to go for the Tier 1 at the bottom lane. But you can see Norway are not paying it any mind whatsoever. They're going to try and force a fight here in the next 2 minutes with this Aegis. Slow down. If they don't actually find a fight here, they'll just take the Tier 2. Ursa's trying to take it as fast as he can, but the increased armor